My dad loves Denny's. Huge fan of Denny's. He's a Denny's
software
guy.
engineer, right?
Yeah, software engineer. It's like he loves Denny's.
It's like the most American restaurant.
He goes, loves Denny's,
Yeah.
loves a Grand Slam. Simple man, simple taste. And I go, what'd you do? Go to Denny's? And he laughs and he goes, no, we probably did something, much nicer than that. And we went to the Olive Garden.
That's so funny.
And then I go, that's going to be the saddest part of this interview.
We're okay on time, right?
I didn't. That didn't sound confident.
Yeah, I don't know what time it is.
Tiga.
I just don't want to knock it when I sip my coffee. I know. I was like so confused when I saw you in the corner. I was like,
Tarun, this is it from dialogue for me, bro. This hit the spot. I usually get a normal coffee, but this is.
Did you refer to yourself as a man?
Huh?
Did you just right now, did you say a man?
Did I say
Thank
that?
you.
Yeah.
Might have said that, yeah.
You just said a man needs a protein shake. That's how you started a sentence to me.
Yeah.
Before noon this way? Are these okay to hold? Is that
Yes, so I'm actually going to make a shout out to Dialogue. Because
They sponsor us.
hilarious?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
very funny.
have you gone there before?
It's very nice. It's very nice.
It's one of the hottest coffee shops in Hollywood right now.
It's really good.
Yeah.
This is how you meet all the Indian people.
yeah.
Kind of.
It is a nice thing, though. It's nice that there's like more Indians. There were like it's like me and Fizza for years.
Oh, Fizza.
Fucking Fizza, stupid.
One of my favorite guests that started up. What's going on, guys? My name's Tarun, Shetty. Welcome to the Convo Sutra. Here with another fantastic episode. So happy for this panel. We got Riya sitting in, but let's do a quick intro for audio listeners.
Hi, everyone. I'm Riya Gohil. I'm a social media content creator and model and a woman in tech and software.
So many things.
So many.
Ria's doing it all.
She tries to.
Third person.
She's like, a lot of third person today. Very good. Hi, guys. I am KIRAN DEOL. I'm a comedian.
in
Yes.
business. And I'm Pritesh, Shah, actor, comedian.
Rapper.
Well,
Don't
you know
forget about the rapping.
Shit. Yeah, spit bars.
Welcome to the show, Karen. I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you for
You were
having
outside.
me.
I wasn't sure if you're going to show up or not. And I'm so happy. I've been bugging you forever.
I know this is very funny. I think it. Do you think you just? It is very South Asian. You're like, I got to dot my T's and cross my I's. I always think like comics. It's like, yeah, I'll be there, man. But then there's like, how many emails am I supposed to read? You know?
No,
what I
I
mean?
know. I'm sorry. I've had so many train wrecks on this podcast.
A lot of people are not showing up or not signing
no.
something. It
Not a
happens.
lot.
It's enough to be traumatized.
So you are trying, So you're operating from a mode of PTSD. Oh, I think your eye twitched a little bit.
Hold on. I've only met you once before.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I got your vibe right off the bat. And I was
Okay.
like, I like her. And here's why, because you don't seem like you give a fuck at all. Like, honestly, and I got your vibe right off the bat. And even though I'm very nice, like I'm very dark on the inside. And I watched your entire special last night.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank you so much. That's the right thing to say, Pritesh. What did you think?
Absolutely, you need to.
Okay, sure.
Rhea also watched it. She's a huge fan of yours.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you for Thank you for
You know,
watching
Karen did
it.
my show 10 years ago.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
That's the same thing.
Continue.
I haven't grown at all as a comedian since then, so it's
But what's great is I know you said you're a comedian. You're so talented because I've checked out your films as well. You're a great filmmaker. You're an actor and you're multifaceted. But that's a term that's thrown around very loosely. But you actually do it all. You went to Harvard.
yes, I did.
How did you go from there to stand-up? Was that something that you always wanted to do? Did it just kind of just evolve naturally, organically?
I wish I had started stand-up I wish I had started in school. I always loved it, but I went to, I don't know if this happened to anyone. I remember going, like I wrote like my little, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? When I was like a kid, like when I was a kid, like I was like maybe a junior in high school, my like cheerleader jokes and my like all my little jokes about the kids in the school, which is not to
So you
some
started
YouTuber.
young. You knew
No,
you had a career.
so we went to a club. I went to a club with two friends, right? A comedy club.
Which club? In Boston?
No, this was in Florida. This is when I'm still in high school.
Oh.
I'm not even sure it's open anymore. It's called something like Boca Nuts. D's Nuts. It's like had a nut. I really have this.
She remembers the nuts part.
I remember it was like,
I think it
because
is open.
Because
Bonkers
it's
or
like,
something?
why
Yeah.
would you pick a career in a place where like the word nuts is in the title of the, of the place you're performing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's not a theater.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like a, like one of those, like, like in
I was in
stand-up-
Florida. I get it.
So in stand up, there will be like, like there's like the improv, but then there's like the Chuckle Hut or whatever. So this was like some anyway, whatever. So this is club, and we were so excited to go. 3 friends. I don't know how we got in because we were underage, and 3 friends, and we got in, and we were like, whoa, to the comedian on stage, who's like this gruff, like, he's in South Florida and he's like smoking a cigarette or whatever. And I have this very distinct memory of him being like, okay, like Charlie's Angels, and like making fun of like, oh, I can see your armpit hair, which was like non-existent, just like negging. Do you know what I mean? Like just, and it really, I remember it really took the wind out of my sails. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, I really like made me sad. And then I didn't.
I will become a comedian and destroy this man one day. Yeah.
It was a very, I don't think that was an origin story even, but I think about that because I'm like, oh man, if that first experience in a comedy club had been really positive, I might have started like,
Sure.
a few years, like in high school. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and like, if I had felt encouraged and like I belonged there, it's like I might have started like years earlier.
So you left kind of discouraged
Yeah,
about
I
the whole
left-
profession.
Because you're so young. I think it's like when you're so young, I left and I was like, oh man, but always had an interest in it. Watched a lot of Comedy Central, whatever. But then after that, I was like, I guess this like isn't really a place for me, And it's so interesting, like with kids, like you don't realize, because like, especially I think with teenagers, they like come off as like so mature. They come off as like they really, you know what I mean? Like they feel like little baby grownups, but they're still really kids and they're still like so vulnerable.
Maybe you needed those formative years to become who you are, because you've got the sardonic biting edge to you. And maybe all the experiences that you've gone through has made you this.
He said, this man did you a favor.
No, honestly.
He just used SAT word. He was like sardonic.
Sardonic is a great word.
Your material's great, but I love the part when you were like, I don't want to like ruin this. But
Yeah.
And you were like, anybody here have a joy suck? And this guy was like, I was bullied by by somebody in high school for being gay. And you go, way to bring down my entire special.
I took a second. I did take a second and I said, I'm so sorry. That's terrible.
Yes.
Does anyone have something that, and then just pause. Does anyone have something that isn't going to bring the entire room down? Because it's like,
But
the
that's
next
at the
person
tone.
calls out like cancer. Like, what are we doing?
But that's at the tone for your material and act, persona, everything, It was so organic and real. And I was like, oh, I love this moment. So I don't know.
That's very nice.
I love how you said like your origin story, like your Batman, like.
Batman.
What did you go to Harvard for?
I did literature, English literature.
Oh, wow.
I will say that the first time I've really, really been proud of this institution is in this last, I don't know what the demographic of your listeners are.
Nobody watches this.
Chic. A lot of institutions are really caving, like a lot of academic institutions like Columbia just like folded in the face of the administration in terms of like what their, I don't know, values have been for years.
Yeah.
And I will say I was very impressed with, because Harvard is a very conservative institution. I have friends who work there now and whatever. And it was like, I'm very impressed with the way that they clap back at the administration. They came back and they're like, yeah, nah. Like, and then to countersue. And then I don't know if you saw this, but they did lose several $1 billion in funding and they're countersuing about that. And I was like, this is the first time I've been like, don't worry, Harvard. My $100 check is in the mail.
Oh my
You'll
God.
be
Oh,
fine.
you're the alumni? You're like, I got it.
Yeah. Don't worry. Don't
I
worry.
got you. Yeah.
You lost $2 billion.
I love when they
$100.
I love when they call you alumni. I'm like, you act like you did me a favor and I didn't pay tuition to attend. Like the way they call you when they call you, like, as an alumni, we've done so much for. I'm like, yeah, I also paid a lot of money to attend. It wasn't not volunteer. Like you didn't just give it to me.
They didn't. They did. Harvard though actually does give you a lot of money. Harvard gave me a lot of money.
Hey, I didn't go to Harvard.
Yeah, I know. They do have this endowment. They are older than the federal government. I think that says a lot. And I think the other thing to remember with institutions, especially like a place like that, a place like Harvard, is that these institutions have always been a place of like massive unrest that have been pushing the culture forward. That was true of Oxbridge, like with the friars and like the villagers. Like that's a real thing that's been going, like the whole thing that a protest would take place on campus or like that's pushing the context of academia forward, or what the nation is doing, or what is the moral consciousness of the nation. That's like what institutions like that are for. So the idea that like this is new is this is the legacy of those institutions, you know, and it's whether you agree or you don't, I think it's worth understanding that history and understanding it within that context. And so I genuinely felt very proud of them, you know, because they are a leader in terms of like that name recognition globally and what they're standing up for and like what our country is going to be, what the soul of our country is going to be. And I have a lot of, you know, I was like, okay,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I felt really good about them. The other thing that's very hilarious is then they got this letter from the administration, from the president's office, and then they sent it back with proofreading, which is both
The most Harvard thing to do.
it's both hilarious and also the nerdiest clapback.
It's the best. That is so funny.
So there you have it.
Quick shout out to Dialogue. Thanks so much for supplying us coffee this fine morning. It's one of the best coffee shops in LA. Check it out. Pritesh, what are you drinking, by the way?
Protein shake, I already downed it. That's how good it is.
I got the same thing.
It's amazing.
It's going to be hard to go back to caffeine. This is really great. Thanks, Dialogue.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And I love your special, how you don't try to dumb down your special. You're like Nosferatu references, English history, Archangel of Gabriel. She just says what she wants to say. So I really appreciated it as a consumer. It was great to watch it.
The other thing I do really believe, though, because it's like, and you know this too, it's like we do clubs like all over the country. And like this idea that people are dumb or people don't get it is not true. Like that's just simply not true. Like you can have like an audience will let you know if they don't get it.
Yeah.
All of those things, whether you know whatever, like you're going to get it in context anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like reading a book. Like I might not know every word, but like, you know, a lot of people do. I am very proud of the Nosferatu because like we taped it before the movie came out and I was like, oh my God, ahead of the culture.
No, it's very
I could have written that. It's good. But actually films like that too, I feel like great film always left you questioning. It was never to give you answers. I feel like some of the other, when they're just trying to feed you like an emotion, like great actors don't tell the audience how to feel.
Yeah.
They feel. You get to decide on how you feel or responds to it, right? That's like, to me, that's always great art. It's open.
And isn't that voice? Isn't that what voice is? Isn't that what point of view is? It's like if you, and this is what's hard about, I mean, obviously we're doing a podcast now. So it's like the hard thing I think with clip culture is that it's like, I don't know why you got into this, but I'm very interested in telling a story over time. You know, like I did a documentary before this. It's a story over time. It's
awesome.
like, hopefully,
Is it woman
rebel, one woman, one rebel. People always go women rebels, woman rebels.
Sorry.
Well, you know, no, it's fine. It's the name. It's not you. It's like if a lot of people do, but one woman, one rebel is what it was called. I just think but it's a story, you know, beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
I think there's something about watching the journey that's like really exciting. And that's the hardest thing, you know, it's so weird to have it go from storytelling to content. Yeah. It's all content now. You know what I mean?
Which isn't necessarily art. It can be.
It can be.
But it's not a lot of times.
Or it can be parallel or it can be complementary, but I think they're different.
But I like
things.
what you said. That's true because sometimes content, when it's that, 10-second clip, you're not getting beginning, middle, end. You're not getting context.
You're getting a singular joke. You're getting a snip. Maybe that snip is interesting to you, but the thing I am really proud of with this special is hopefully it has a beginning, middle, and end. It's a story over time. The sum is greater than its parts.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
I watched The American Haze as well. I watched that short.
Oh, wow. Look at coming in research, Pritesh.
But
also, did you watch it?
No.
He said... Your sister also on the list. It's also.
I've seen a lot of your stand up though. She was in Priya's show too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I heard like your voice, comedic voice. And by the way, your parents are lovely.
Hilarious.
Love your parents
Yeah.
to death.
The best.
That's the crux of they make it.
I would agree with that. In that little short that was for Sundance, like a little Sundance Now short they commissioned. So like they had a series of 6 shorts.
Check out all her stuff, by the way. It's really great online. Just Google her.
Thank you. I am paying him. It was part of a series on patriotism. And so we got immigrant patriotism. Ours was the topic of immigrant patriotism. My favorite part of that though is like, my parents become they become citizens. And I ask, so like, what did you do to celebrate at the end? Did you go somewhere? My dad loves Denny's. Huge fan of Denny's. He's a Denny's
software
guy.
engineer, right?
Yeah, software engineer. It's like he loves Denny's.
It's like the most American restaurant.
He goes, loves Denny's,
Yeah.
loves a Grand Slam. Simple man, simple taste. And I go, what'd you do? Go to Denny's? And he laughs and he goes, no, we probably did something, you know, much nicer than that. And we went to the Olive Garden.
That's so funny.
And then I go, that's going to be the saddest part of this interview.
Yeah.
And then he laughs.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the end of that, he laughs. He finds it very funny. And you're like, oh, that's where like you realize now, like I'll like look back. I'm like, oh, my sense of humor is very influenced by like, I see something glib and my dad doesn't get sad or mad. He's like, oh, that's hilarious. Do you know what I mean? Even, you know what I mean? You realize like that's.
There's a lot of ancestral stuff there. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we always talk about ancestral trauma, but there's also ancestral gifts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a nice thing to say.
We miss that. There's so many gifts we got. Like when you go up mine, I'm like, oh, my grandfather was an artist. He just couldn't be. He expressed himself with music and he was super talented, but he couldn't do it. But I feel like a lot of that's been passed down to me.
Check out her short, because I think her mom's a teacher, and she reminded me of my mom, to be honest with you. But she had like genuineness with kids, like she was playing with kids.
Yeah.
You can see the love that they have for you.
Yeah.
Riya, what's your favorite medium? Do you feel like these things speak to you content-wise as a Gen Z person?
I wouldn't identify myself as Gen Z.
What do you
to be
identify
honest.
as that? I don't know what the term is.
I'm 97, so I'm like right on the cusp of both. I grew up with like all my aunts and uncles, and they're like 10, 15 years older than me. So it's like I don't identify with Gen Z, but probably the
You're a lone wolf.
Yeah. But I don't know. My answer is kind of basic. Like my favorite comedian is like Hassan Minaj.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I really enjoy him. His shows are always good, and they get you thinking. And it's kind of like what you
He
said
does stories
earlier.
over time. I've opened for him a bunch. He's a friend of mine. Yeah.
And going back to what you said, even if you don't get the joke immediately, it makes you do some research. Like, what was he talking about? Like, really make the connections and actually dig deeper, understand it more, get the history of it, which I really appreciate.
Hassan's gone, I mean, especially in that second special, because it's like, I think, because when he got on The Daily Show, he interviewed he's like met all the senators now.
Yeah.
So he knows the ins and outs of
I mean,
politics.
he interviewed Barack Obama.
Huh?
I'm friends with him too, and his wife. He interviewed Obama too.
Yeah, it's like really crazy. So
Yeah.
it's like, so then to be prepared for those, because he is like quite South Asian, the level of research, he's definitely knows more about politics than me
But
by
the thing
a
is,
million% now.
As a person too, he's like very intelligent. That's the way he thinks about life. He was super interested in politics before. It wasn't just a personality he
always.
put on. So
is
to me, it
true.
was always like a political satirist at his best, which is like Daily Show fit him like
It
a
did.
glove.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was who he is.
I wrote a book behind you for my mom. And so when I released that book, I texted like, my 5 most famous friends. He immediately reposted about my book, so he's a great guy.
It's well, he was out. I mean, the reason we know him is because he was out here for a minute.
Yeah, that's how I know.
You know, like
Yeah.
he was out here for a minute, and he was like doing stand up, and he was at all the shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why just grinding.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's
You got to
around.
grind. There's no other
Yeah.
way.
Well, you have to grind, but then when the time comes, you have to be ready for that opportunity and then capitalize on it. Because I feel like everyone gets it at some point. You don't control when or how necessarily in this business, but when it comes, that grind will help you be prepared to maximize it.
What was that moment for you?
Waiting. You know what I'm talking about? Damn, Karen. Shit, let me drink.
Well, maybe if you'd watch more of my stuff. Yeah.
Kiran, you've done so much. Do you feel, because I'm very kind of jaded about Hollywood, and do you feel like this business, do you feel that seismic shift in Hollywood of what they're doing now? Are you optimistic about it? Do you see it through, I guess, roseate lenses?
I don't listen. The way I look at it is I genuinely don't know. And I think sometimes if you're jaded, which we've all felt discouraged at certain points, I'm sure.
Oh, wait, actually,
Whatever
you
you're
just
doing.
did a film at Sundance.
We did just get a film into Sundance,
Yeah.
but it's with anything,
Yeah.
it's very, that's the first time I've been a lead in a feature, and that was at Sundance, and that's very, very cool. But then you're looking even at Sundance, and this like poor man who's the head of Sundance is like defending. He was like, I don't like all the, like so many headlines were like sleepy year at Sundance or like whatever. And you're like, even Sundance, even this institution has to deal with, do you know what I mean? Like the idea is like the institution's still hot. And it's like, for fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of great movies coming out this year. I'm really proud of the one that we did. It's not available to watch yet. Didn't die. And it's a really great cast.
Mira Menon.
Yeah, with Mira Menon, who's a wonderful director. I did her first movie. It's
Huge. You're a lead in a movie at Sundance.
Yeah.
And we're downplaying that, but that's a big deal.
Yeah, but I think, that was a very friends and family effort, we kind of developed it together off of a scriptment, and like, you don't know necessarily what's going to happen with something. So like the one thing I will always say about like the jaded thing, because I think we've all been there at certain points.
Still there. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I love the way you're like, it cuts over to you. It's just like, you just got a cigarette in your mouth.
Dude.
Cuts over to you. There's like,
When the camera goes off, you know.
But I'll tell you that I ride it like a rocket ship. Like that spite and contempt I have for like people in the industry sometimes, like it's my driving force of why I'm able to, and it's true.
well,
It's
but you're also like actively making something consistently.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is like,
I'm insane like that.
at least, you know what I mean? And I think what'll happen to me sometimes when I'm feeling jaded and probably a lot of people, I'll get discouraged. And then I'm like, and then I don't want to do anything. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything. But it's like, if you can, I don't know. I think the part that's really hard to do, and I'm like saying this to myself as much as anyone else, is like, if you can kind of try to hold on to the part that you love, like the thing that you love, the thing that made you start doing it, or like, instead of worrying about whatever like rep situation is going on or whatever's going on with this contract or the logistics of whatever, go back and like listen to a set. Oh, that joke makes me laugh. Oh, that's really funny. And like try to put your focus back into exactly the thing that you love.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And nurture that attention around the thing that you really enjoy. You know, a lot of comics complain about doing social media, but then they really love joke writing. So it's like, if you're getting burnt out on social media, pivot back to joke writing. You love joke writing.
Yeah.
Pivot back to shows.
It's the initial thing that got you excited.
Yeah, exactly.
We always forget that childhood, that little inkling, the curiosity.
Almost
and
like the
fun.
childhood level of joy, which is what the special is about.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You would know that if you...
I'm gonna watch it, Kiran. My God.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. It helps us so much. Thanks. But I love that you take a risk with your stand-up. Like, you're not just like, you know, kowtowing to the audience. You're actually like saying the jokes that you want to say. Definitely check out her special. It's on Amazon. You can rent it, and it's definitely worth it.
You have a deep interaction with the audience too, in a way. Because at pre show I was watching, and it was interesting how close you get to the. It's not just a physical thing though. It's an energetic thing.
You want to like, but you
like have like a wire. It feels like there's like a wire attached.
don't you want to be in that room? Like, I feel like the thing.
No, I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I
like,
feel like I specifically for myself enjoy doing it, but it's really cool from the outside watching you do it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong if that's not someone else's thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
of course.
saying it is really nice, especially in a world where it feels like you're on stage and I'm separated from you.
Yeah.
And you're listening to me, but here we are almost co-creating.
Yeah, or it's because at the end of the day, it is like live performance.
It is.
And so like people, it's always like people came out to see you live and to be in this room with you live. So it's like, if you're live, I don't like, nobody wants to feel like they're being talked at, or like, do we address what's going on in the room, or how do we get the room to be in it together? And then this is the other big thing is every audience for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've all, like, I remember, you probably have a story like this too. It's like, I remember so early, like doing this, like I was doing this, like I was in a Haitian restaurant. This is also South Florida. All of my South Florida. Who books that?
Okay.
Great question. Have forgotten, you know.
We can feature.
We can bury it. It was a Haitian restaurant. It was like, I don't know, one of my first, like, I think first 3 years of doing stand-up. And I had like 5 or 7 minutes, and I did my best stuff. And they hated me like it was their job. Like
I love that though. That means you didn't placate to the audience.
Do you know what I mean? But and almost like to the point where it's like you were bombing to the point that like I like actually really leaned in and I was doing my very best.
Good.
Like my very
You're like,
best.
I don't even care at this point, which is a freeing place to
but
be, actually.
It's freeing. It's like, because I'm trying my very best, and it's like, oh, and they hate me. And it's like, oh, but I'm also like very free. And you're like, but now that you've been doing it for a while, you know the litmus of like what a joke should get.
Yeah.
And if they want to mess with you or not. And it's kind of like, and then like the next comic went on and they did material. And I was like, yeah, I'm never going to be that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if that's what you love in this room, that's like, and Hassan would talk about this. It's like, do you try to find the audiences who love you, or do you try to make every audience love you?
Yes.
And when you really actually start performing a lot, there is a marked difference in how much, like Jesselnick talks about this on his podcast too. It was like, I had my great material, and he was like, and I just spent a couple years bombing in the Midwest where nobody got me. Then I did a roast on Trump, and all of a sudden my audience, I didn't change a thing.
Yeah.
My audiences were just full of people who got it.
I feel like anybody can figure out how to do stand-up, you know, badly. I'm not saying they're good, but you know how to press buttons. You know how to, like, you know, read audiences, do bad crowd work. And it's so diluted now. I can't watch stand-up because I just see so many people who are not taking chances, who don't put up the effort in their writing. You know, I used to work at the door at the Boston Comedy Club in New York.
Oh, wow.
So I was there like 2000. And so
Did you say the Boston
Comedy Club, Barry Katz's club,
in New York?
Greenwich Village.
So funny that it was Boston and New York. It's
Yeah. I had the job right after Bert Kreischer. You know, yes, it's huge. Yeah,
That's
he's a huge
amazing.
podcast.
Yeah.
But Patrice would come by. I knew Patrice.
One of the best of all time.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
used to watch him do spots, and he would purposely bomb up top. I remember like when Michael J. Fox got diagnosed with Parkinson's, he was like,
Oh,
you know, you guys don't like, he's only trying to help Parkinson's because he has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Purposely trying to like make the audience hate him just so he can dig himself out of the hole. I have to be able to take that risk. And I feel you do that in your special Joy Suck.
Oh, I appreciate that.
That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about, authenticity, right? And I think that goes with anything, even actors you connect with.
Yeah.
Because they're doing obviously written material. It's
Yeah.
a character, but there's an authenticity you feel. Like, are you being just honest in this moment? And I think those are the actors that a lot of times the audience, you may not even know why you like a certain actor or why you connect or why they make you feel a certain way. Yeah, the writing is good, directing is good, but there's something they do. They open themselves up for you to enter and feel them. You know what I mean?
Riya, what do you like? You go to like a lot of music performances. Like, what do you like about artists? Like, what makes you want to go out and see them?
When they really tailor their shows, and like we mentioned earlier, I went to Beyonce last week, and she puts on a production, but kind of like what you said, it's not just like she's putting on a show for the entire audience. She really makes you feel like she's putting on a show for each individual person there. Like she's there, she's present. She's worked hard to curate this whole like atmosphere. It's like a whole energy that she has about it.
It's like a whole cowboy theme. And you dressed up like a cowboy, and you were like, everybody dressed like a cowboy.
It's a part of the experience.
Yeah, and I'm saying that you actually had that connection with the artist to do that. So I felt like it was a great thing to see. I was just joking when I said dress up like a cowboy for the podcast.
I know you were.
Like Jesselnick, when you have your fans, like they will show up for you, which is
Yeah,
cool.
it's very cool. The Beyonce, where did you go? The SoFi,
Yeah,
that
SoFi,
stadium. Yeah, that stadium. How was the experience of like how close did you sit? How big was she? And did you have to watch her on the screens? Good question.
I mean,
Thank
those
you
are a
so
lot
much.
of them.
Thank you
Those
so
are
much.
a lot
Great
of
question.
them. Those are a lot of them.
Those are questions.
We were in a good section. It wasn't like the mosh pit, but it was like the section.
You were in the mosh
right
pit,
above-
the Beyonce mosh pit. People,
Can you imagine?
It was the section right before that, but we did off the record sneak into a better area.
good job.
She said off the record
Must be
on
nice to me.
camera.
Yeah.
You're good. You're out there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Hey, first of
Wait,
all,
what does that
don't
have to do
disrespect
with
us Gucci's,
anything?
and we will get a lot for our money. You best believe it.
You
Well
know,
done.
and we made the most of it, and I feel like
I respect that move a lot.
I'm curious because like the tickets, how much can we ask?
we
What?
paid $300. I think.
Oh, that's like actually.
It was
That's
actually
that's
pretty
like-
good,
yeah.
and we got really good seats. And like the great thing about Beyonce that I liked is that she does a good job at making sure the screens are like giant and everyone gets a good view of her. Because realistically, she is like this.
Well,
big,
this
you
is
know?
the thing. That's why I was asking when you said, because like one time this was again in Florida. Apparently I only do comedy in Florida.
Your whole life.
My whole life is
Your
Florida.
whole, yeah.
I'm like, I'm there right now. But I opened for Hassan and it was like a 6,000 person casino that was shaped like a guitar.
Oh,
know?
the
Hard rock.
Hard Rock.
In Tampa, that one.
no,
No,
Miami.
no, it's the one a little north of.
out of
It's like
Miami.
in kind of like Hollywood, Florida, maybe like Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, exactly.
How was
Are you
that
from
gig?
Florida?
I used to live in Miami.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that guitar thing. But this is a very interesting. I remember it's the first place I've ever performed with screens, and it's like there's reverb. There's reverb, so there's actually like when the sound comes back to you, the laugh, it actually takes us. It
Takes a second.
It takes a second, and I was like, and it's different than up to a place with 3,000 people. So I was like, I would actually, as a consumer now, I would want to say do under 3,000. A stadium experience require like because you have to
By
look
the
at
way,
it on the screen.
6,000 is on the low end nowadays for these huge comedians.
It's unbelievable.
Isn't it
Like,
crazy?
but
Which
this
is weird because I feel like a lot of the art was supposed initially intimate.
that's what I mean. But it's an intimate
It's an intimate art.
and maybe this is a curiosity with like because I remember like having done we did 2 shows together and we did a theater that was maybe like I opened for him so it's like 25
That's still
25
good, but I'm not dissing it. I'm saying that's a great number.
Yeah, no, of course. And for stand up, but 2,500, 3,000, I thought, this is kind of the same. This isn't nothing.
It feels the same.
This feels the same. Like this is the same as like if you practice in a room with 60 people or 100 people or whatever, this actually feels the same in terms of your rhythm, in terms of your timing as like when you're doing a small room. But when you do a room with thousands of, like when you start to go up to that 6,000 number, I was like, oh, the rhythm of this is different. The pace of this is different. And like I sat and watched
You
it.
slowed down?
You have to slow down a little bit because you're.
It's like Zoom when you got that.
It is. It's like Zoom.
When I was
There's a
doing Zoom
delay.
shows during COVID, you're like, oh, now they're
It's
laughing.
literally
Okay,
a delay.
Yeah,
it's literally
that delay I'm talking about.
You need to start practicing on Zoom. But then I remember watching a bunch of the show, and I was like, because even sitting close, like in the middle, I was like, he's so little. Yeah. This is so different than when you were in the other thing. I was like, man, for audiences, it's almost like probably better if you did like the 3,000 person theater. If you ever got to this place in your career with like an Ali Wong or whatever, doing 4 of those a night, as opposed to doing one 20,000 person theater, the qualitative experience for the consumer.
Well, I think that's why I used to like going to, was it House of Blues?
Yes.
That closed?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
because
that's a good-
I can't do like SoFi Stadium, regardless of the person, Beyonce or anyone. I get so much anxiety when there's that many people. It's too much for me. I just don't like it.
I don't know. It depends on.
That's just me though.
If I feel like when you're a really big fan of like the artist, it also just feels like one giant party, like one giant Beyonce party. Everyone's on the same wavelength. Everyone really enjoys her. Everyone's here for her.
You're simpatico with the other audience members. So even though the person isn't that big, it's beyond the person. Yeah. You're with a bunch of other people who are.
Girl, I leave a restaurant if it's too crowded.
That's a you problem.
Yeah, it is a me problem. I'm down.
KIRAN, that's the problem with stand-up though, because I feel like people who go now are like, they're seeing their favorite animal at the zoo. They're like, oh my God, we're going to sit with 30,000 people and see
Kevin Hart,
whatever, whoever it is, like you're their favorite guy, which is great for the comics. They can like rake in a bunch of money, but I feel like the experience of stand-up, I feel like it's lost sometimes.
Are you talking about just when you're talking about like Comedy Store or Laugh Factory?
I don't know if they care so much about the actual ambiance of it and who they're
It's a
sitting next
fan
to.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have Dave Chappelle go on stage, not say anything, and people will give him a round of applause for minutes. It was like when Michael Jackson got on stage. Because then once they love you, your content can matter less. It does matter, but I'm just saying it's like he's bigger than the content at that point.
And you get a bump, right? The truth is you get a bump. So it's like, I remember Chris Rock kind of saying that it's like, they clap, but then you still need new jokes. You can't play the old songs. You need new jokes. People want the new
That's
jokes.
the beauty of musicians.
Yeah.
They just rake in millions singing the same song for decades.
You want to hear Beyonce's hits when you go.
You want to hear all the old schools and the new stuff.
You literally want that. So the
Yeah,
problem with musicians is they get trapped in, oh God, I have to do this again, probably. You know what I mean? But like with comics, it has to be the new stuff. So I think one time Chris Rock was saying like, it's like you get that initial, or Seinfeld, he was saying you get that initial bump, but then eventually it's going to be like, okay, what's the stuff?
Yeah.
And I was like, but you're still getting I would say a 30 to 40% leeway from the audience. It's a much
Big time.
It's a much softer
Are
laugh.
you turning over material a lot? Do you do that material from Joy Suck on when you go on the road?
No, I'm working on like the new special. So it's like if you like, let's say that you get really, I try to do new stuff. I think probably to a fault. Like it's like,
it's good though.
Even at like my weekly show, it's like, you don't have to do the newest stuff. You can do old stuff and mix it in and like kind of, whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes taking some, no. So that
It's hard. It's super hard to like,
once
do a whole new.
once it's out, like retire it.
How about you? How often do you change over your
I still
material?
write jokes because I just have to write, but I'll perform like twice a week now, if that, at like shitty bar shows, and it's hard. Like to headline is a totally different beast. You got to drop stories in. There's like a line there. It's hard to maintain stand-up in LA for me. Doing 6-7 minute sets. I got offered to headline somewhere. So and I was like, no, I can't do this. My head's not there. Suba was here actually, and I talked to her.
Yeah, Suba.
Yeah, and I really respect going out. Like you're doing not easy places. Like I've seen your venues. You're actually grinding it out. And to bring it back to you though, you're actually always making new content for your social media. And when she's talking about her material, do you feel the same pressure to like output new content for your viewers? Because you're very interactive with your fans.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
That's really nice to hear. But yeah, there is definitely that bit of pressure because sometimes even when I'm editing, I'm like, oh, I already did that angle or I already did like this type of outfit. Like it gets very like there's a pressure to put out new stuff all the time. But I think there's also something really nice about having your basic outline or like, you know, your personality that's consistently shows up. And I'm sure you feel that with like how you write your sets as well. It's like you stick to who you are and then you sprinkle in a little bit of new stuff at a time.
The thing what kind of material do you do?
I do like fashion and like lifestyle stuff.
Okay, cool. I don't know how you feel, but with stand up, it's like the thing that I find like sometimes I think like at Sundance, Mira would constantly say like she had this like St. Thomas Aquinas quote where she would say it's like the ship you build determines how you sail kind of thing. So
Love
it's
that.
like like kind of like so focus on the shipbuilding of like the container that you want. So now with social media, the thing that I find tough is that it's like if you want to be really topical, right? Like if you want to be really topical, like so even at my like local show, I had some stuff about Beyonce. Right. And it's like, okay, I could put out a thing that's like kind of half baked. Do you know what I mean? Or a breadcrumb. I can put out like a breadcrumb that's like kind of got the premise, or it's like, you know, or the Harvard thing happened. I could put out like a bit, but if you give it a month, you know, and you really worked on it, you could have a chunk, you know, but
Let it breathe.
Yeah. But the thing is, then it's over. Do you know what I mean? Then the moment for the material is over. So like to develop it as fast as like fast and high quality. So Josh Johnson's doing really well on the internet, but it's like when I watch a lot of Josh Johnson, I don't mean this it's like he's very interesting, he's very intellectual. He does like 30 minutes or an hour.
He knows how to break down pop culture so crazy.
But the actual form of stand-up has changed because like I would actually argue that what he's doing is kind of like a TED Talk open mic.
Agreed.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like he's a witty, intelligent person who's peppering in a couple jokes, giving a talk on a topic.
He's not alone though. There's a lot of people who do that.
But that means that the literal form of stand-up is changing.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
it's the form is changing because it used to be a professional comic is 3 to 5 jokes a minute.
Yeah.
And it's not at that pace anymore because it's more about being conversational and authentic. And you're opening it on like the plus side, you're opening it up to a much wider audience who might not go to a club or know to go to a club.
And it took Dave Chappelle decades to get to that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That people starting off like that. Dave Chappelle was funny as hell. And then he got to a point where I don't even have to be funny. I'm just a poet and I talk.
Yes.
And you listen because I've earned it for doing this for 30
But my
years.
counter
right?
argument is if the audience doesn't care, then who are we to judge? Just because it's important to us, like as they're happy.
It's two things can be true at the same time. It's like that, it's that kind of line, right? Because it's like I've definitely gone to shows or even open for people who probably who can sell the tickets, right? Like this is the thing, if you can sell 600 tickets, who am I to say? I can't go to San Francisco and sell 600 tickets without like the benefit of a club. Do you know what I mean? So like if you can sell Palace of Fine Arts or whatever the venue is, like who's to say? But the act also says something. Do you know what I mean? If people go to the act and then it's kind of like they're leaving, right? Because they don't like it enough, or you know what I mean? Like you can't.
That was the issue with a lot of social media comedians selling out. They could sell out because they have a fan base, but then when people actually went there, they're like, oh, this only worked on camera in a 10-second bit, but not actually on stage curating a whole thing with an audience.
It's so strange that form is supposed to transcend everything. You're supposed to be amazing at making 30-second clips, but also amazing at a 6-minute set, but also amazing at an hour. And it's like, yes, these things are similar, and I can understand why you would believe that, but like they're not necessarily equivalent.
Yes.
You know, you could be amazing at hours and not like I have friends who I think are some of my favorite comedians, like James Adomian, I think is like the next Robin Williams. Is like 800-pound gorilla set is like, I think it's criminally underwatched.
Yeah.
But he's not a clip guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's just not that guy. So
I mean, everybody on Tony Hinchcliffe, he's just putting on these like open micers now, and they're like selling out.
It is wild to witness. That is the thing we're talking about.
It's a business though, man. It's going to
No, but
constantly change.
I have no problem with that. I'm not even saying anything negative. I'm just making
I have a problem with it.
Well, but the thing is, like, whether I have a problem or not doesn't really matter, right? So, like, why even focus on that, right? So that's just my opinion.
We got to wrap up.
yeah, it says it on the screen.
Yeah.
It says wrap up.
People don't know that.
Oh, I'm
Now
sorry.
they know that it says wrap up on the
Well,
screen.
this is we get a little BTS.
TK.
Did you just say TK?
TK.
I thought you were saying TK.
No,
Yeah, I was, like, confused.
And I said,
Huh?
TK, who the fuck is TK?
I was like, what?
Seriously?
I don't
Work
know
on
this
that
slang.
accent.
Like, is
Goddamn.
this Gen Z?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my God, TK.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Actually, my there's a cousin I have. He'll be like, my dada. I'm like, you mean dada? No, like my dada.
When we were on the drive here, I was like, you know, how does everyone pronounce their names? I want to say it right. And then we got into this whole thing about it. Yeah, because it's like,
it's Tarun.
I was like, it's Tarun, right? And then Iram's like, yeah, but you could say Tarun.
Yeah,
or Tarun.
yeah,
You could say
And I was like,
Tarun. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tarun.
before, how do people sabotage your name?
Well, because Kiran, right?
So do they-
but
Kiran?
Kiran,
Do
it would
they
be
do
Kiran.
Kiran?
It would be Kiran. But then it was
yeah.
like, I think when I was growing up, it was Karen.
Oh, wow.
Right? It was
wow.
Karen for a long time. And then I was like, I'm going to get them to go Kiran.
Kiran.
Get into Kiran.
We're going to piss off the studio if I don't wrap up this episode.
Copy that. Copy that.
But let's just do a quick plug for our social media. Where can we find you, Riya?
On Instagram at Riya DG.
At shit from Kiran. Shit from Kiran. Not shit with Kiran. There's no double
it.
toilet situation.
Okay,
Just
got
shit
it.
from
Got
Kiran.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm at the Pritesh Shah.
Is there anything you want to plug?
Oh, just the special.
it?
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the kind words about the special. The special's on Amazon Prime right now. It's the first one. And so hopefully it'll be the first of many.
And you can find me at Tarun Shetty. Thanks for coming by, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I was so happy to see you outside today. This episode. I really was. I told her, I was like, oh, I hope she shows up.
I was like so confused. I was like, why do you think she's not coming?
Yeah.
Tarun thought it was a date. You know, his date's always leaving, so it's fine.
It's the PTSD.
Yeah.
I know. It's coming back to me. Thank you. Thanks, Pritesh. Thank you, Riya, for coming by. And thank you guys for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Please join us on Patreon. Please support us. Get this out to a friend. Forward it to some people. Like us, share, etc. We appreciate you, and we will see you guys next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
Jai Shri Krishna.
What'd you say at the end?
Jai Shri Krishna.
Done.